Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Always a challenge to sit here. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, this is just for my purification. Just purely for my... Otherwise, we are speaking on the words Uttama Adhikari and a Kanishta Adhikari is speaking, so it's when Nanamrita Prabhu asked me to speak, of course, that's his service. I was like, okay, I went through the words and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to speak about an Uttama Adhikari. You know? That's it. No, that's just your humbleness, Prabhu. Om Jnanatimiram Dasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Romapada Swaminiti Namine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamalobha Tayaschaye Chetayate Ranavidham Siddhim Sattve Prasidati. So let's do text 49, Shloka. Dehendriya Prana Manodiyam Yo Janmapyayakshudbhayaktarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhana Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayakarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhanaha. Prabhus. Dehendriya pranamayodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayatarshakrichai Samsara dharmair havimuhyamanaha Smrityar harer bhagavata pradhanaha Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayatarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhanaha Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayatarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhanaha Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayatarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhanaha Dehendriya prana manodiyam yo Janmapyayakshud bhayatarshakrichai Samsara dharmair avimuhyamanaha Smritya harer bhagavata pradhanaha Deha of the body, Indriya senses, Prana life air, Manaha mind, Diyam and intelligence, Yaha who, Janma by birth, Apyaya diminution, Kshut hunger, Bhaya fear, Tarsha thirst, Krichai and the pain of exertion, Samsara of material life, Dharmai by the inseparable features, Avimuhyamanaha not bewildered, Smritya because of remembrance, Hare of Lord Hari, Bhagavata Pradhanaha the foremost of devotees. Translation. Within the material world, one's material body is always subject to birth and decay. Similarly, the life air, prana, is harassed by hunger and thirst. The mind is always anxious. The intelligence anchors for that which cannot be obtained. And all of the senses are ultimately exhausted by constant struggle in the material nature. A person who is not bewildered by the inevitable miseries of material existence and who remains aloof from them simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be considered Bhagavata Pradhana, the foremost of the devotee. Purport. Sri Madhvacharya has given an elaborate description of the process by which material miseries arises. When a conditioned soul of demoniac mentality identifies himself with the gross material body, he undergoes miseries of constant drowsiness and unquenchable sexual desires that burn all mental peace and serenity to ashes. When a demoniac person identifies himself with prana, the life air, he suffers from hunger, and by identifying himself with the mind, he suffers panic, fear, hankering that ends in disappointment. When he identifies himself with intelligence, he suffers profound existential bitterness and frustration deep within his heart. When he identifies himself with false ego, he feels inferiority, thinking, "Oh, I am so low." And when he identifies himself with the process of consciousness, he is haunted by memories of the past. When a demon tries to impose himself as the ruler of all living beings, all of these miseries expand simultaneously. According to Sripada Madhvacharya, sinful life is the demoniac standard for happiness. We can observe that in demoniac societies, the dark, late hours of night are considered more appropriate for recreational activity. When a demon hears that someone is rising at 4 o'clock in the morning to take advantage of godly early morning hours, he is astonished and bewildered. Therefore it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pasyato mune. What is the night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Srila Prabhupada has commented, there are two classes of intelligent men. The one is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Thus, the more one can increase illicit sex, intoxication, meat-eating, gambling, the more one advances his prestige in a demoniac society. Whereas in godly society, which is based on Krishna consciousness, these things are abolished completely. Similarly, as one becomes blissfully attached to the holy name and the pastimes of Krishna, one becomes more and more alienated from the demoniac society. The demons are self-proclaimed enemies of the Supreme Lord, and they mock his kingdom. Thus they are described by Srila Madhvacharya as adogate, or those who have purchased their tickets to the darkest regions of the hell. On the other hand, if one is undisturbed by the miseries of material life, he is on the same spiritual level as the Supreme Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yam hina vyatanti yete purusham purushashrava samadukka sukam dhiram so amrutyavya kalpate. O best among Arjuna, a person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, he is steady in both, is certainly eligible for liberation. One can come to this transcendental stage only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. In other words of Sri Madhvacharya, Sampurnanugrahad Vishnu, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has described the process by which one becomes an Uttamadhikari. If one is fortunate, he gradually becomes disgusted with the limited vision and activities of the Kanishtadhikari, learns to appreciate the expanded vision of the Madhyamadhikari, who is eligible to recognize that every living entity should become a devotee of Krishna, and that one achieves the perfection of life for following in the footsteps of Uttamadhikari, devotee of the Lord.
As one's devotional service gradually intensifies and one repeatedly bathes in the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee, this harassment of birth, death, hunger, thirst, fear, they will cease. As stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, alabdeva vinashateva bhaktachardhana sadhane avikalva matir bhutva harim eva diyasmaret. Even if a devotee is frustrated in his attempt to eat properly or clothe himself properly, he should not allow this material failure to disturb his mind. Rather, he should use his intelligence to remember his master, Lord Krishna, thus remain undisturbed. As one becomes mature in this process of remembering Krishna in all circumstances, he is awarded the title Mahabhagavata. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gives an example, just like as a child's ball may be fastened to the end of a rope so that it cannot bounce away, a devotee who surrenders to Krishna becomes tied to the rope of Vedic injunction and is never lost in the worldly affairs. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has quoted from Rig Veda as follows: Om asya jananto namachid vivaktan Mahaste Vishnu Sumatim Bhajamahe Om Tat Sat. O Vishnu, your name is completely transcendental. Thus it is self-manifest. Indeed, even without properly understanding the glories of chanting your holy name, if we vibrate your name with at least a small understanding of its glories, that is, if we simply repeat the syllables of your holy name, gradually we shall understand it. The supreme entity indicated by the pranava Om is Sat, or self-revealing. Therefore, even if one is disturbed by fear or envy, the transcendental form of Supreme Lord will become manifest to one who continues to chant the Lord's holy name. Further evidence is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 6-14. Sanketyam parihasyam va stobhyam helanam yebava vaikunta namagrahanam asheshagha haram vidu. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins. Even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical instrument, or even neglectfully. Thus, this is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. Disciples of Srila Prabhupada have written such beautiful purport. What is there to discuss more? Just chant. Right? So let's all chant one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To speak in front of all these Uttamadhikaris, it's a little bit overwhelming. But I'll just speak for my own purification. I think very beautifully Krishna Guru Prabhu described yesterday. So, Uttama Adhikari, I was just thinking, it's looking at this Uttama Adhikaris, it's difficult to imitate them. So I was thinking, if I imitate, I was feeling low, very low self-esteem, very low. Oh my God, to be like that, it's very low. Then I was reading this Mahajana Yena Gata Sapanto. We don't imitate them, we just follow them. So then, thinking that, I was very inspired by one Uttama. There are many Uttama Adhikaris. After this, each one can share who is their heroes from the Srimad Bhagavatam. One of my favorite hero is Chitraketu, Vritsasura. So I was thinking I will just read, speak something about him. It's so beautiful when we read these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day we can associate with these Uttamadhikaris. We are all longing for this association. So we can associate with them and we can learn so many things from them. And so, Vritsasura, anybody wants to share anything about Vritsasura or Chitraketu in his previous life? So as you all know,
Vritsasura in his previous life was King Chitraketu, who was married to many thousands of wives but didn't have any children. So he was actually morose, even was very sad. And that time Narada Muni, Angira Muni approached them and he says, what is your reason for your sadness? He says, oh, I don't have any children. So he said, okay, you are blessed with a child and his name will be Harsha Shoka, cause of happiness and cause of distress. So normally having children, you all know. They are cause of happiness and distress. You don't have to specially say anything for them. So he took it for granted. Yeah, a child is always a cause of happiness and distress. So as things were going on, the other wives got envious of this one wife who had this child, and so they poisoned the child, they killed the child. And now Chitraketu was completely distressed and he was crying. And at that time, Angira and Narada Muni approached Chitraketu and he said, I already warned you this child is a cause of happiness and distress, but since you're crying so much, they revived this child, and when the child comes to life, what is the first thing the child says? What is it, Prabhu? Yeah. Which father are you? Which lifetime? I had so many mother, father, cat mother, cat father, lizard mother, lizard father. So many mother. Which father are you? Which lifetime are you my father? Chitraketu takes back, right? Then self-realization, he realizes, he understands this is not my path. So Narada Muni, Angira Muni, they give them a mantra to chant, and he follows according to his spiritual master, worships Lord Sankarsana, and I think within seven days he sees Lord's face to face. And afterwards, one day, he was actually flying in an airplane, and he sees Lord Shiva and Lord Parvati having a conversation on Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course I think all the Vedic scriptures, and at that time Parvati was actually sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva, and they were all discussing in front of all the Uttamadhikaris and elevated yogis, and all of them are sitting and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, and Parvati is actually sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva, and Chitraketu sees this thing, and suddenly he laughs. I mean, his intention was not to offend them, but he just laughs. And then Parvati gets offended, and she curses Chitraketu that, you will become a demon, lowest of the mankind, a demoniac family. So what did Chitraketu do? Did he retaliate? What did he do? He cursed back. He accepted it. Look at the quality of a Mahabhagavata. Tolerate. Mata spashastu kaunteya. Sitoshna sukha dukkadaha. Agama paino nityas. Tams titikshva, tolerate. He tolerated. He says, if this is what Lord desires, so be it. I'll accept it. So many personalities. One of the qualities that these Mahabhagavatas or Uttamadhikaris have is tolerate. Ambarish Maharaj, when Durvasa Muni comes and curses him, what did Ambarish do? Same, retaliated, I'll curse back. No, this is the wish of the Lord, I'll accept it. When Brahma was cursed when Brahma offended Lord Krishna by stealing the calves, afterwards in comes and he says, Evatma kritam, so I will tolerate this thing. I did a mistake. This is all my previous activities, my own karma. Tolerate. So he tolerated, he didn't retaliate, he didn't curse back. He said, okay, so be it. So now he takes birth as the demon, Vritsasura. And I really love these verses. I've been contemplating on this for a very long time, so I thought
today is the day I can share with all of you. Hopefully you will all get inspired and then go back and read. That's just my intention. It's not, I'm not showing off or anything. And how beautifully he praises. Okay, so what happens is, again it's a big story, how there's a war between the demons and the demigods, and so Vritsasura is fighting on the side of demons, and he's actually attacking Indra. And Vritsasura's words was, Indra, what are you waiting for? Just hit me with the thunderbolt and just kill me. I am waiting to reach that lotus feet of Krishna, and you can take your kingdom, your sovereignty, your whatever you want. You will get all the 3 worlds. You can rule them. But for me, can you please do it fast and kill me? Kill me with your thunderbolt so I can reach that the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Those were his prayers. And to come to that stage, I don't need anything. It's really hard, We are so attached with this body and the byproducts of this body, and to even ask for the Lord, I don't need anything. And he prays, Aham hare tava padaika mula dasanu daso bhavitasmi bhuyaha manasmaretashu pate gunamste grinit vakarma karotu kaya. Aham are tava padaika mula. He says, my Lord, will I again be able to be servant of your eternal servants who will find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes. My words glorify those attributes. My body always engage in the loving service of your Lord. How beautifully he's praying in the middle of the war, in the middle of the big war. This is what he is saying. Dasanu daso bhavitasmi bhuyaha. I'll just share one joke with you. Mayavadis and devotees are always having a conflict, a debate. So once there were 2 best friends. One was a devotee and other was a Mayavadi follower. They were sharing the room, they were discussing. And Mayavadi philosophy is Aham Brahmasmi. And when you say that, they will say Tavosmi. Yeah. I am that, may you be that. That's what they think. So once this not the devotee one, the other friend, he approaches one of his teacher, Mayavadi teacher, and he says, chant this mantra. And the mantra is Soham, Soham, I am that, I am that. So he comes home and he's chanting Soham, Soham, Soham. And this devotee said, what are you chanting? He said, this is the mantra given by my guru, Soham, Soham. It's good. Why don't you just add the letter Da in front of it? It becomes more beautiful. So now what is he chanting? Dasoham, Dasoham, Dasoham. And then he goes back to his guru, and how are you chanting? I'm chanting good. I'm doing Dasoham, Dasoham. Seriously, I gave you the Soham and, okay, fine. Why don't you just add another Sa in front of it? So what does that become? Sada Soham, Sada Soham, Sada, forever I am that, I am that. He comes home and is chanting Sada Soham, Sada Soham. Again the friend is like, what is this thing? Okay, fine. Just put another Da in front of it. And what does it become? Dasa Dasoham, Dasa Dasoham, Dasa Dasoham. Dasa Dasoham. It's just a joke, okay? So there is always a conflict of debate between both these things. So Dasa Dasoham, I'm always a servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. Right? So whenever we have some service to the Lord, I think that should be my mood, that I have been given this service by the servant of the Lord, that the servant serve. Because when I get a service, usually my thought is, okay, I am done with the devotees, me and my Lord, that's it. Right? That's a Kanishta Adhikari thinking, right? Me, my Lord, no one else in between me. No. My mood should be when I get in front, oh, I have been given this service by the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. In the midst of such big war, where Vritsasura knows that he is going to be killed by the weapon of Indra, he is chanting these beautiful prayers. Indra actually had a doubt whether this weapon, the thunderbolt, actually Krishna himself gives that. Lord Vishnu himself gives him that weapon. But Indra doubted for a minute. Is this weapon? Because before that, Vritsasura actually broke a lot of the weapons and he actually disturbed Airavata. He created a lot of chaos. So Indra got a doubt. Will this weapon really work and kill Vritsasura? If not, he is going to kill me. Indra is always very careful about his material possessions. But Vritsasura had complete faith in the words of the Lord that once you get hit by this thunderbolt, you are going to come back to me. That's the faith, that's a complete surrender, complete dependency of the Lord he had. So he's saying, hey Indra, what are you waiting for? It's very beautiful. Before few of these things, he says, because I was thinking, what made, in a demoniac family, what made Vritsasura such a great Mahabhagavata? Yeah, and Vritsasura is saying, by the force of your thunderbolt, I shall be freed of material bondage. And I shall give up this body and this world of material desires. Fixing my mind upon the lotus feet of Lord Sankarshana, I shall attain the destination of such great sages as Narada Muni, just as Lord Sankarshana has said. This is the faith, this is the faith in the words of Krishna Vritsasura had. And so beautifully he's saying, my only desire is I want to be the servant of the servant of the servant, my dear Lord. And Grinit Vakkarma Karotu Kaya. I'm going to be, with my mind, body and words, I'm going to glorify you. And what else he says? Na nakaprastam, na chaparameshtam, na sarvabhaumam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhe, rapunarbhavam va, samya saita viraha kankshe. Na nakaprastam, I don't want heavenly planet, Dhruvaloka. Na parameshtam, not even the Brahmaloka. Na sarvabhaumam, not the whole earthly planetary system. Na rasadipatyam, even the lower planetary system. Na yoga siddhir, I don't want any kind of mystic yogas. So what do you want? Samanjasa tava virahaya kankshe. Virahaya. Being separated from, my only desire is, I cannot be separated you from my Lord. I'm longing to come back to you and serve your lotus feet. And what else he says? And beautiful metaphors is given after this. Ajata paksha iva matram kaga stanyam yatavatsarakshuddhartha priyam priyeva vishutam vishanna mano aravindaksha didakshitvam. Just like baby birds have not yet developed their wings, always look for their mother to return and feed them. I want to be like that baby birds. Always depend on you, my dear Lord. Small calves tied with ropes await anxiously at the time of milking when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers. Awaiting, another thing, I want to be like that calf. And a morose wife whose husband is away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects. I will always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. And in the end he says, Mama uttama shloka janeshu sakyam samsara chakre brahmatasva karma bihi. The same, in the purport, this is what is samsara chakre brahmatasva karma bihi. Tvanmayayatmaja dharageshva asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. My Lord, I have been wandering throughout this material world. Why was he wandering? Samsara chakre brahmata swakarma bihi. I am wandering because of the result of my fruitive activities, my attachment to the body, me, mine, I, me, right? That's what creates this bondage. My house, I did it. And Vritsasura is saying, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek what? Mama uttama shloka janeshu sakyam. Sakyam, I want friendship of whom? Uttama shloka. Krishna has such beautiful names. One of his name is Uttama shloka. Janeshu, one who takes shelter at your lotus feet. I want association of such kind of people. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy. Unless we come to this realization that Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhav ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra ki Jai. Unless we come to this realization that my attachment to my body, wife, children and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy, we will not be like Vritsasura. But I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness and everything be attached only to you. Very beautiful prayers, you know. If anybody gets inspired, you can actually memorize this, and if you're very good at writing poetry, go ahead and then compose some nice prayers like this and sing. But personally I am so bad at that, so it's nice to pray like this. Prayers really help, for at least personally for me, prayers really help you to connect to the Supreme Lord, right? Gajendra prayers, Vritsasura prayers, Mukunda Mala Stotra, King Kulashekara prayers. I love King Kulashekara prayers, so this is just for my purification. Whenever I have to say one King Kulashekara prayer, he prays the same way. Majjanma phalamidam madukaita bade mat prardhaniya madanugraha. And afterwards he says, Tvat britya britya paricharaka britya britya brityasya brityayi mamasmara lokanata. It's so nicely he says, I consider me the servant of 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 your servant. That's how King Kulashekara prays. It's very nice. Similarly, Ambarish Maharaj, Savai Mana Krishna Padhara Vindayo. His mind is always at the lotus feet. Another elevate. Prahlad Maharaj. When Narsinghadev killed Hiranyakashipu, and afterwards all the demigods pushed Prahlad up front, go and pacify Lord Narasimhadev. And Narasimhadev, why is that Prahlad was able to go? Was he not afraid of Narasimhadev? That's very nice. Anything else? Everybody else were afraid, but there was no fear in Prahlad's heart. Why? Mataji, please share. Loudly, it's okay, nobody is here. I always think like that, there's nobody. Otherwise I won't be able to speak. Yes, very nice. Absolutely, there was no fear in the heart of... but what did Prahlad said when he approached Narasimhadev? I am born in such demoniac family. You know, my father was Hiranyakashipu. Right? I was how can I pacify you? But he had no fear factor. When does fear come in our heart? Attachment. Bayam dvitiyan abhivineshyasyat. Bayam, fear. Dvitiya abhivineshya. Dvitiya. When we put our thoughts in something other than Krishna, then we get this fear. Oh, I might lose it. Oh, I might get... Prahlad, he didn't have to lose anything. Another Uttamadhikari, another Mahajana. Always dependent on Lord. Even when Narasimhadev asked for the benediction, what did Prahlad say? Please help my father to get, right? He's ready to take people even from the hellish conditions back to, that's a Uttamadhikari. That's a Mahabhagavata. Anybody wants to share their hero from the Bhagavatam, who is a Mahabhagavata, and you can connect? Sarvabhauma Prabhu.
I was just thinking in Giriraj Maharaj's book, he was preaching, he was making life members in Bombay, and he met a man in the Vallabha Sampradaya who, at that time, Giriraj Maharaj had not seen the prayer of Vritrasura, but this man from the Vallabha Sampradaya really was fond of that prayer, and he recited it to Giriraj Maharaj, and then Giriraj Maharaj came to Prabhupada and told him he met this nice man, and then Prabhupada had him bring out the sixth canto, and Prabhupada had him read the prayer of Vritrasura in the purport, and Prabhupada, I think Giriraj Maharaj said the prayer was very much like Lord Chaitanya's Shastika.
Oh yes. So parallel. Yeah. So true. Na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim, right? I don't want anything else. Yeah, it's so parallel, the prayers. Very nice, Prabhu. Yeah. Radha Krishna Prabhu. Our mentor. Some personality that it's nice to hear from Uttamadhikaris. Huh?
Yeah, among all the Kanistas.
It's said...
There's a Uttama Kanista and Madhyam Kanista.
No, that's just their humbleness. Huh? Even Prahlad said the same. Sva alpamapi asya dharmasya trayato mahato bhaya. A small association, even some word, even you take... actually, I stay opposite to the sannyasi quarters. I open my kitchen blinds and every day there's Prabhu walks around and all the devotees walk around. I said my life is successful just by looking at them. Even if my mind just deviates, just by looking at them, oh my God, they are all chanting. I think I should get back, that seriousness. That is, nothing happens in life by a coincidence. Everything has Krishna is so merciful, he puts you in such position. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's very nice. That's a Uttama Adhikari vision. I guess for me it would be Narada Muni, because he's always helping so many devotees or people who are unseemingly in their day-to-day lives, and he comes and puts a big difficulty, or he makes them aware that there's something else in life.
Yeah.
And so, just like for the Mrigari, the hunter, he awakens his understanding. And then with Daksha, how he helps his sons, and with Hiranyakashipu, how he makes him understand there's someone superior to him, and at the same time, by doing that, we appreciate the entire pastimes. Right, so quite a lot, yeah. Kamsa, so on and so forth, yeah.
Very nice. It's really nice to take one Uttamadhikari, follow them. It's impossible to imitate them, but follow them. What made them this Narayana Parayana? What made them this complete surrender? Why they're able to do it? What is that? And on our own strength, I think it's very difficult to stay spiritually aligned. It's very difficult. But when we catch hold of such Uttamadhikaris like Vrutsasura or Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, it's beautiful prayers. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Jagannath Puri, every day he would hear from Gadadhar Pandit the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj. He says, say it again, you know. Yes, Krishna Kripa Prabhu.
I thought we could volunteer. But anyway, I'm also very fond of the Vritrasura story, because it shows that just because a body makes a mistake, because Chitraketu was just humorous, he thought it was funny to see Lord Shiva with his wife on his lap speaking Bhagavatam to all the sages, and nobody seemed to think that was anything wrong with that. And then he just makes a joke, of which guys always do that, so Lord Shiva didn't care. But Parvati became very disturbed. You know, how are you disrespecting my husband? Look at what he's doing. I'm sitting on his lap, yet he's still able to concentrate and preach. So then he becomes a demon. And the big dilemma in the fight between Indra and Vritrasura is that Vritrasura is speaking pure Bhagavat philosophy, and then Indra is stuck with, he's a devotee, he's not a demon. How am I going to kill him? I can't kill him, that's a bigger offense, you know. Because again, the body dictates how we think to some degree. Indra is the king of heaven, he's very pious, he has all good fortune, he has all of this stuff. If he kills Vritrasura, he'll lose all that. And he's calculating. I can't kill him, he's a devotee. Therefore Vritrasura has to preach to him, but I'm in a demon body, can you please help me get out of it? You know, this is just the covering.
Yeah.
And so we can understand how many mistakes we may have made, but because we still have this natural attraction for Krishna, obviously we're a devotee. You can't separate the soul's attachment to Krishna, because it's always there. The soul is always conscious of Krishna. Yeah. It's just covered over by our mental and intellectual desires, which is part of what this whole purport is about. We get caught up in our bodily condition. You know, and therefore we make decisions based on that, even though the soul itself is already attracted to Krishna. I mean, if you go on Sankirtan, you've been out, you see how people are affected by the chanting of the holy names, or by taking some prasadam, or by just contacting with the devotee. That's the soul presenting Krishna to another soul, right?
Yes.
And it's we think there's so many favorable people. It's not that every favorable person there, Krishna directs them to the devotees so they get some benefit. It's not that this is an accident. They're not just random souls. You know, and you can always see how the children stop at the kirtan and just watch the devotees. The parents have to drag them away. You know, it's again and again, because they don't have any prejudices towards these are Hare Krishnas, these are this. They simply hear the chanting and they stop. They want to hear more of it. None of this is an accident.
Yeah.
It's the natural position of the soul. Jivara Slupoi Krishna Nityadas. And I just love to see where you've got one devotee on one side in a heavenly body, and another devotee on the other side in a completely demonic body, and they're confronting each other and realizing, well, he's a better devotee than me. So Vritrasura literally tells him, kill me already, will you? It's destined. You have to kill me. It's your turn to be, you know, that you get the heavenly worlds back, you know. We have them now. It's very far out. But these subtleties are there in every living entity. You know, it's really cool how that happens. And they go about their business doing what they're supposed to do. Indra ultimately kills him.
Very nice realization.
In a helpless condition, because he cuts both his arms off first. And he's lying there with no way to fight Indra. And then Indra kills him.
Yeah.
Which would be dirty business according to Vedic, you know, warrior status, you know, Kshatriya status, and how one engages in warfare. You know, because only equals can fight each other. If you're a a person who's a very, very good fighter, he's a Maha what?
Mahabhagavata?
No. As a fighter. Maharati. He's a Maharati. Yeah.
Fighter. Okay.
So these are two Maharatis can fight. You can't go fight an infantryman. That's bad juju, you know. He's not at your equal. Sure, you're going to kill him. Big deal. So you can take on an entire phalanx of people, but you can't take up one individually, just the footmen, the foot soldiers and so on. So there are rules on everything, engagement and stuff, but it's all the business of the heart.
So
where
true.
we are, where we aren't, what we see, what we don't see, what we're attracted to, what we're not.
Yeah.
You know.
It's so true, huh? Soul has a natural tendency to love Krishna. See, all our, like I was saying, we have to at least first come to this point that my material body is the cause of this bondage, right? It is, the desires are not at the mind level. Where does our desires come from? Yeah, from our subconscious mind. You know, whatever we go around, we picture it. Click, I like this. It goes into the subconscious mind. We see something, it goes into the subconscious mind. It's all in the subconscious mind. And just like a cow, after it eats the grass, what does it do? It sits down and chews, very peaceful. And we have same thing like that. Now, what's my desire? I put things from the subconscious. So how do we clean the subconscious mind?
Proper engagement.
Yeah. What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Cheto darpanamajanam bhava mahadhavagni. It's not a small fire. Mahadhavagni nirvapanam. It's a forest fire. How do you extinguish a forest fire? We take the hose and then put the water? A big shower has to come, rain. Then only. So you have to clean the subconscious mind first, because we are Prabhupada says, be careful what you're desiring for. When you see something, oh, this is beautiful, it's in the subconscious mind. At the time of the death, a 70 mm picture comes in front of us. And then, boom, another body. Yeah. So the only shelter is the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Now, Nainamrita Prabhu, you want to share something? We have 3 to 4 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes and then Guru Priya Mataji can share something.
Well, then I'm going to give you the examples that you're asking for. Mahabhagavat, one of them is Parikshit Maharaj himself.
Very nice.
He was Krishna's devotee. He didn't have to do anything else. He didn't have to go out and ask for listening to Bhagavatam or any other questions.
Yeah.
But he did for us, so that we can listen to the Bhagavatam and we can go back to the Godhead.
Very nice.
Just one comment on
Sure.
text you recited, Ajata Paksha.
Ah.
Favorite part of that particular translation is the birds. If you have seen in the villages on a tree,
Yeah.
when you see the baby birds, they're crying, chee, 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 chee. They're continuously crying and waiting for mother to bring the food. And what happens when mother brings the food? From their pig, they slowly feed those babies. What the lesson we can learn from that is that we should have that kind of a bhava, that kind of desire, just like a baby birds have
Complete
for the
dependence.
food. Complete dependence on a mother. Same way, if we have a complete dependence. And that's how the Vatrasu was. He was completely dependent on the Supreme Personality of
That's
God.
why he was able to even pray like that in the middle of a
Middle of the
battlefield.
battlefield. So that's a wonderful text.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Beautiful, yeah, very nice. Even like Parikshit, very nice. When Rishi Shringa cursed him, he didn't retaliate. Hey, you curse me, I'm going to curse you back. Huh? That's what we do. Huh? You said this to me, I'll do this. Tit for tat. No, I'll accept it. Something good will come out of this curse. That's what this Mahabhagavatas, very nice. Matajis? Anybody? I want. Srikant Prabhu wants. I know she can speak. That's why I wanted to hear.
You were asking the Mahabhagavat you like from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I like Prahlad Maharaj. I like his teachings, like he was saying that you should start devotional service at a very young age. Because look at the human life, it's 100 years old, 100 years we can live maximum.
Right.
Like 20 years in school, 40, 50 years sleeping,
Yeah.
eating, and then we have family life. So there's very little time left for bhakti. So he was saying you should start now.
Sure.
I try to keep that in mind, that we should start now, no matter how old or young we are.
Yes. Again, the small 5-year-old boy, what kind of a teaching, huh? Kaumara acharet pragyo dharman bhagavatan. He is 5-year-old boy is saying, dharman bhagavatan here, dullabam manushan janma. This is, human body is so rare, 5-year-old boy. Huh? Yes, Srikant Prabhu, who wants to share something?
Since we're talking about Mahabhagavatas, I think the Shukadeva Goswami is, of course, a like big example.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki Jai, Radha Giridhar ki Jai, Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Nitai Chaitanya Jai, Gaurachandra ki Jai. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Shukadeva Goswami, it is said that he doesn't stay at one place for more than 20 minutes. Like even the time when he visits a home for like getting some food, he just waits for like it to get cooked and just like leaves within. So except for speaking Bhagavatam for 7 days, he didn't stay for any place for more than 20 minutes. But so it shows the amount of detachment that he has, and it reflects that how attached at least I am to my things. It's my house, my furniture, my stuff. So yeah, so it kind of reflects as how attached we are to this material body and
Very
material
nice,
life.
yeah. The detachment, yeah. Kalpataru Mataji?
But I would say Dhruva Maharaj, the determination he had.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, his intention was not good in the beginning, but just purified, right, by the association of the Lord. And his prayers are also so beautiful. Dhruva's prayers, huh? Very beautiful prayers, yes. I was looking for, what is that?
Piece of land.
Yeah, I wanted such a, better than something, but I just looking for broken pieces of glass. Very nice. Yes, Prabhu. I think I'm going to go over time, huh?
What's interesting in the situation with Parikshit Maharaj is that after he, basically offended the sage, he's riding home on his horse and his mind is just going nuts. He's thinking, what did I do? How was it that I did that? And he's really bewildered, and he knows there's going to be some great reaction to it.
Right.
And he simply prays, at least let it only happen to me.
Very
Do not harm any other of my family members because of my offense. Let me take it all on me. Before he even heard that he'd been cursed. And he's just riding home, and at that point, what's going on in the boy's head, what's happening with everything is happening at the same time Parikshit Maharaj is speaking like this. He's thinking, I've ruined everything. But again, there were so many layers of things that needed to take place. The kings needed to be chastised, so to speak. The age of Kali needed to start. Can't do that with a pure devotee standing in front of the gate. You just don't get to do that. And everything spiraled out of control from that point. And therefore, but Parikshit Maharaj immediately accepted his fault. He already had. Whatever that curse was, whatever repercussion he was going to have from that, it was going to be on him only. And that's all he prayed. He never tried to get out of it.
I know.
But it was it's as confusing to him as it is to everybody. How can a devotee do this?
Yeah.
How can a devotee do this to someone?
It's so true.
It's very funny. But a devotee can do anything that Krishna wants him to do, even if he doesn't understand it, and would never do it in any other circumstance.
Yes.
He was only thirsty. That's not a big deal.
It's very important how we should, from Dhruva's pastimes, we don't react to a situation. We should respond. You should just sit down and... So many other personalities are there, but I will end here and we can discuss. The whole Bhagavatam is full of nectar. Huh? It's nectarian because it's what's spoken from the lips of Sukadeva Goswami. Nigama Kalpataru. It's beautiful. Yeah, I will just sing. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Yeah. Yes. Assembly of devotees is very important. Yes.
actually, it goes really far. If you read the Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you see that Prabhupada literally, as he said, I only repeated what I've heard from my spiritual master.
Yes.
Because even when Prabhupada says sleep is like death,
Yeah.
the Bhagavatam quote, 12th canto.
Sleep, yeah.
All the senses go out. They're like, so the body is like it's dead. It's only because the super soul senses danger that he wakes up that sense that that body needs.
I know, just thinking that is so scary, huh? We are dead every day, but still we are attached to this.
Yeah, these are all quotes from the scriptures, especially from Chaitanya. So many things Prabhupada says comes directly out of that. And they sit in the category of the devotees, because you have to read and read with any association of devotees. That association brings you deeper into it, just by being there. We had 5 people in Dallas that were coming every day. And we were going through this stuff, and the whole stuff just opened up for all of us. It was amazing.
Yeah, you can turn it off, please, Prabhu. Thank you.
Good job. Most people don't.